So welcome back, dear students. Today we are going to cover fourth lecture on Constitutional Law Second from Unit 4, which deals with analysis of directive principles of state policy. Today we will be covering Article 38, 39, 39 capital A, 40 and 41. Dear students, Article 38 of our Constitution talks about that state has to secure a social order for the promotion of welfare of the people. And it says that state shall strive to promote the welfare of the people by securing and protecting as effectively as it may a social order in which justice, social, economic, and political shall inform all the institutions of the national life. Clause 2 of Article 38, which was added by Constitutional 44th Amendment Act 1978, it directs the state that state shall, in particular, strive to minimize the inequalities in income. You know how incomes inequality are to be minimized? Like income tax is levied on rich people, but not on the poor. And the money received from income tax is utilized for the benefit of poor sections of the society. So the directive principle of Article 38 Clause 2 is that the state shall in particular strive to minimize the inequalities in income and endeavor to eliminate inequalities in status also. Like scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, their status shall be uplifted. Similarly, state shall endeavor to eliminate inequalities in status, facilities, and opportunities, not only amongst individuals, but also amongst group of people residing in different areas or engaged in different vocations. So this is the duty of the state. So dear students, this Article 38 incorporates part of preamble within it concerning justice, social, economic, and political. This clause is meant to remind the state about the kind of society the Constitution expects it to create. And Article 38 Clause 2, as you have seen, recognizes group equality. It recognizes that grave inequality of income and status exists among different groups of people, which need to be minimized. Then coming to Article 38, which says that certain principles of policy to be followed by the state shall in particular direct its policy towards securing that the citizens, men and women, equally have the right to an adequate means of livelihood. So this is a very important directive principle, that state shall ensure that all men and women equally have the right to adequate means of livelihood. 39B, that ownership and control of the material resources of the community are so distributed as best to subserve the common good. You see, whatever the ownership and control of material resources is at the disposal of the government, they shall be distributed in such a way so that greatest good of the greatest number for the common people is created. 39C, the operation of the economic system does not result in concentration of wealth and means of production to the common detriment, meaning thereby that there should not be concentration of wealth in few hands. Likewise, means of production should not be to the detriment of common people, and means of production should also not concentrate in few hands. Then 39D, equal pay for equal work for both men and women is a big directive. That men and women are equal, so they should be given equal pay for equal work. 39E, that the health, and strength of workers, men and women, and the tender age of children are not abused, and that citizens are not forced by economic necessity to enter avocations unsuited to their age or strength. 39F, that children are given opportunities and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and in conditions of freedom and dignity, and that childhood and youth are protected against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment. This clause F of Article 39 was substituted by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Moving ahead, Article 39 specifically requires the state to ensure for its people adequate means of livelihood, fair distribution of wealth, equal pay for equal work, and protection of children and labor. Whereas Article 39B and C particularly aim at building of a welfare society and an egalitarian social order. We have a very important leading case, State of Bihar versus Kameshwar Singh, which was decided by the Supreme Court way back in 1952, wherein it was held that a law which aims at doing away with the concentration of big blocks of land in the hands of few individuals would subserve the directions contained in Article 31A and B. If Parliament has made a law which does away, which prevents the concentration of wealth or concentration of land in the hands of few individuals, is definitely implementing the directive principle contained in Article 31A and B. This word material resources of the community, which is used under Article 39B, this includes resources in the hands of private individuals also, and not only those which have vested in the state. So material resources in the hands of the state and material resources in the hands of private persons shall be equally distributed. Thus, the electricity generated and distributed by a non-governmental undertaking is such a resource, and its nationalization amounts to distribution within the meaning of Article 39A and B. Meaning thereby, if a government has overtaken an undertaking which is generating electricity, it is nationalized, and the electricity is distributed at normal rates to the people. So this amounts to implementation of directive principle under Article 39A and B. And dear students, this word material resources includes not only natural or physical, but also movable and immovable properties such as land, building, workshops, vehicles, etc. They should be equally distributed according to directive principles of state policy. Then next important article is 39 capital A, which was added in our constitution by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act with effect from 3rd January 1977. This article says that the state shall secure that the operation of the legal system promotes justice on a basis of equal opportunity, and shall in particular provide free legal aid by suitable legislation or schemes or in any other way to ensure that opportunities for securing justice are not denied to any citizen by reason of economic or other disabilities. So this is also a directive principle that state shall see that poorer sections of the society are not denied justice because of their poverty. They should be provided free legal aid. Article 39 capital A has been often relied in support of right to legal aid as well as all legal aid programs. You know, this leading case of Husainara Khatun versus Secretary of State of Bihar. In this case, right of legal aid to poor prisoners was recognized. This is a very important judgment. Then, dear students, you are aware that in compliance of this directive principle of providing free legal aid to the poorer sections of the society, Parliament has passed Legal Services Authorities Act 1987. and all Lok Adalats are held under this Act. All legal aid schemes are implemented under this 1987 Act. So you cannot say that directive principles are not being implemented. They are being implemented. Then next important directive principle is Article 40, which speaks about organization of village panchayats. Article 40 of the Constitution, which enshrines one of the directive principles of state policy, lays down that the state shall take steps to organize village panchayats and endow them with such powers and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as units of self-government. Under this article, that is 40, state is expected to take steps to organize village panchayats and endow them with such powers and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as units of self-government. Dear students, you know that power of the people, which is the soul of the republic, stands subverted if decentralization and devolution keenly desired in Article 40 are ignored by the executive. You see, this organization of panchayat and the village panchayats were given a constitutional status by 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 1992, which introduced panchayats in Part 9th of our Constitution from Article 243 to 243O. This is a major step in the direction of implementing this directive principle of organization of village panchayats, because now the panchayats have been given the constitutional status. And village panchayat, what is the meaning of term village? Village is defined in Article 243 Clause G. A village means a village specified by the governor by public notification to be a village for the purposes of this part, and it includes a group of villages so specified by the order of the governor. Then moving further, dear students, next article is Article 41, which speaks about right to work, right to education, and right to public assistance in certain cases. 41 provides that state shall, within the limits of its economic capacity and development, make effective provision for securing the right to work, the right to education, and right to public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness, disablement, and in other cases of undeserved want. You see, if you analyze this Article 41, then according to constitution makers, the state is directed by Article 41 to ensure to the people within the limits of its economic capacity and development, number 1, employment, number 2, education, and number 3, public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness, and disablement. You know, sometimes government gives old age pension. Sometimes government may provide unemployment allowance or sickness allowance or disablement allowance or special facilities to sick and disabled people. So all these schemes are in implementation of directive principle given in Article 41. And it is usual to refer these directives as measure of social security also. Now coming to the implementation of fundamental rights and implementation of directive principles, which we are dealing with right now, the duty to take effective steps to provide education has acquired special significance in view of recognition of a fundamental right to education. Now we were talking about a directive principle that state shall provide education to all. Now this directive principle has been recognized as a fundamental right to education, partly in compliance of this article, that is 41. Now a citizen has a right to call upon the state to provide educational facilities to him within the limits of his economic capacities and development. And this was decided in Unikrishnan versus State of AP by the Supreme Court. And it was held in this case that right to basic education is implied by fundamental right to life under Article 21 when read in conjunction with directive principle contained in Article 41. Dear students, this Article 21 capital A is yet to be notified by the central government. And this directive to the state to make effective provisions for securing right to work is also qualified by its economic capacity and development. You see, these directive principles state is to follow, but subject to economic capacity. There is another case decided by the Supreme Court, Delhi Development Horticulture Employees Union versus Delhi Administration, decided by Supreme Court in 1992. In this case, it was held that persons employed under any scheme such as Jawaharlal Nehru Rozgar Yojana cannot claim regularization of their employment when the scheme comes to an end or money for the same gets exhausted. You see, these are the directive principles to be implemented, but subject to economic capacity of the state. If the scheme of Jawaharlal Nehru Rozgar Yojana has come to an end, its employees cannot claim for regularization. If the budget for the scheme has exhausted, the employed persons cannot claim regularization or the scheme should continue. Once the money with the government is exhausted, scheme may be put to an end. So all these directive principles are subject to economic capacity and development of the state. So dear students, this is all about today's lecture dealing with the directive principles from Article 38 to 41. So thank you very much. God bless you.